This is the February 14th, 2022 at 5:35. The Board of Health is meeting. Can I get a roll call, please?
Gavin Byers.
And Chris Novella. Additions or deletions not anticipated in 48 hours. I do not believe we have any. Rick?
Nope.
Nope, we have none. Let's move on to the 1.3 COVID update.
Right. So, we'll just go over the numbers. So they get reported every Thursday. Last reporting was February 10th, and remember they're lagging, so
Yes.
they're a week behind.
Yep.
So on February 3rd, we had 87 cases. On the 10th, we were down to 61. As far as percent positivity, down from 14.12% to 10.8% in Townsend. Middlesex County was down from 7.73% to 4.62%, and the state was down from 10.06 to 6.48. I also pulled some other data that we might want to start looking at instead of that percent positivity. So it's the 14-day average daily incidence rate per 100,000 residents. So they basically take your population and they interpolate the data for 100,000. And so Townsend on February 10th was at 47.8 average cases per day per 100,000. Middlesex County was at 53.8, and the state was at 62.2. And I think that does a better job of showing you that it's not as bad as it looks when you look at other data.
Yeah.
And so I'll start pulling that out so you can take a peek at it too. As far as vaccination rates, it didn't really change too much from the last time we met. So individuals with at least one dose is at 75% of the town. Fully vaccinated is at 67%, and then those that have received boosters are at 37%. The only real big piece of information that came out since we had last met was that the DESE came out and said that they're going to end their masking requirement in the schools starting February 28th. And so at that point, it'll be a local decision if they want to make one.
Yep. Okay.
But you guys have any questions or?
Since we really don't have a mask mandate, in town,
Yep.
all we have is the, this building, or town buildings. Do we need to recommend to the Board of Selectmen to drop mask mandates yet, or?
Yeah, that's what it would be. I mean, so when we had started this, we had talked about, coming up with criteria that you guys wanted to see met in order to remove the mandate in this building only.
Right.
So, we never really got there, so it's really, either my thing is we should probably come back next meeting and have some ideas if you guys can think about what you'd like to see. So that you kind of started the conversation on your own, and we can hopefully kind of come to an agreement as a group.
Yep, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Gavin, you got any questions?
No, I like that. I think if we have if we can play off of this 14-day period
Right.
percentage per 100,000 and say, and pick a number that we all feel is pretty good, and say, if we fall under it,
Yeah.
we can get rid of masks. If we go back above it, we should put the mask back on in the town buildings.
What number would you recommend?
I'm gonna have to look more into this.
Yeah, so
stat.
what I can do is, because I just pulled the last 3 weeks for that number, I'll go back and get some historical data so that you can look at it, what it's looked like for, say, the past 6 months or so.
Yeah.
I was thinking back to 1920.
We can't go back that far. But yeah, I'll pull, whatever you want to do, but I'll pull some numbers so that you can look at it. I think it's just, rather than just looking at a number of cases or the percent positivity that's dependent on the number of tests being done, I think that average daily incidence rate probably makes a lot more sense to, kind of base decisions on, cause it's standardized.
I like it. I like it.
Okay, Jim, do you have anything?
No, well, I think their suggestion is pretty good, so we'll cover ourselves accordingly.
Okay, good.
And
Is
then,
that it for COVID? Rick, or
I
you got
just
something
have,
else?
it's not really COVID, but I think probably you had seen the email going around about getting the letter for, reps for the PHEP meetings, the public health emergency preparedness ones. So, Kayleen from our office usually goes to those meetings, Jim or I will attend occasionally from our office. And so I put together a letter, same as we had done last year, so that if you guys do want any supplies from Region 2, they would represent you and be kind of your vote, as long as you're okay with that.
I think that Chris and I already talked about that last week, because
We
I
did.
went down to grab some supplies and we put me in as you as an alternate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'll,
I'm so sorry I haven't brought that up to you yet.
alright, so if that's
Well, thank you for
covered,
that.
I'll probably, I don't
That's it.
usually attend them, so as long as you are, and if, we might have to just update the letter to add Kayleen on there too.
Okay, excellent. I'll make sure that we're talking about the same thing, but,
I'm pretty sure we are,
I'm
yeah, it's
pretty
those,
sure we are
those
talking
meetings
about it.
that happen probably twice a month or so,
Mhm.
and they're with that Worcester region too.
I was down there, last week grabbing a bunch of sanitizer and thermometers, and we gave them to the rec center.
There you
Because
go.
the fire department and the police department already had funds for it, and the rec department seemed like the right place to have it,
Yep.
especially where there's gonna be February vacation coming up.
Yep.
So they've got the little hand thermometers and all the sanitizer, one of the shooters
Yeah,
to spray,
nice.
very handy,
Very
and
good.
we can go back, as many times as we want, so I wanted to talk to you about that at a later date.
I think, as often as needed.
Okay. I did
Yeah.
keep one of the thermometers in here in the town hall. I
Yeah.
haven't had an opportunity to send an email out. I thought it might be better at a department head meeting to let the people know that if someone wasn't feeling good, there was a thermometer that they could use that could be,
How many are available to us?
well, they're supposed to stay within the Board of Health.
Okay, all
So, as many as we can store.
Okay. I'm just, they're supposed to stay within the Board of Health, so that isn't something we wanna disperse to, you know, the accountants and, you know, the town clerks and stuff.
Well, that's what I'm
They have
saying,
their own?
they do not.
Okay,
But if we had a couple available in the Board of Health office, they can come use them.
right,
And
okay.
then we can just sanitize, I mean, you don't actually touch, you're just using it, and if you
Mhm.
sanitize before and after, at least, I think it gives the employees a little bit of comfort to know that if they're not feeling good, that there's some type of measures that we can help them with.
Oh, very good, okay. I am not opposed to having more than one, in case one breaks. You know, a backup isn't really a big deal, you know? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like it, sure.
Yeah. Jim,
I didn't hear all of that.
we said you're old and fat.
That's true, but I'm gonna lose some weight between now and when.
Oh, okay. No, Kyle was talking about the, having the, I can't even do it with a straight face. Kyle was talking about having the, what are those things called? The laser.
We can get some free supplies from the Worcester Emergency Region 2, and one of the things is the touchless thermometers, so we thought it would be a good idea to have a couple in the Board of Health office if someone in the town hall wasn't feeling good, that they could come down and use it to see if they
Yeah,
genuinely
that's
didn't.
definitely a nice option of convenience, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the supplies that I did go get last week, I distributed to the Recreation Department, where they're a revolving fund such as ourselves, and they have the February vacation coming up, so they got a lot of the sanitizers and the sprayers and the other temperature thermometers.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. You got, Rick?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got something for that.
Okay. So we're gonna move on to 1.4, which is 3 Wheeler Road Manure Management Plan. Rick?
Alright, so, I think it was Andrew had submitted a kind of a 2-page document as far as how they were gonna deal with, specifically the, liquid waste that they were generating from the poultry processing plant. So it's really the wastewater from the washing down of the equipment, the floors, the chill water, all that they were gonna put into tanks and then put in a liquid manure sprayer to put on the fields.
I'm having a hard time hearing it. Can you get them closer?
Yeah, I got you right here, buddy.
So, they were gonna use liquid manure sprayer to get rid of all their wastewater on the hayfields that they've got in town. And so I had brought their plan to Mass Department of Agricultural Resources to see if they had any concerns about what they were proposing to do. And so Taryn Lascola, she's the Director of Crop and Pest Services Division at Mass DAR. She came back and said that based on the information she had, that would be considered agricultural processed water. So it says processed water that is generated as a byproduct from agricultural operation activities and processing of agricultural products. Agricultural processed water includes, but is not limited to, water generated as a byproduct in a milking parlor, milk house, or bottling operation. So they don't specifically list this one, but she said it does fall under that. And because of that, they are subject to the plant nutrient regulations, which is 330 CMR 31. And so there's some of this regulation that they're not subject to because it's not actually a plant nutrient, but they have to do certain things like periodically test the water to see if it does have any amount of, it's really like nitrates and things like that can affect the soil, and what runs off eventually down to other things,
So does that mean that we
it
have?
basically means that they can do it
Yeah.
as long as they comply with 330 CMR 31.
No, I'm just curious if it means that
It's
they're
just
not
testing now.
polluting the
It's
town
not-
water, that,
So, I'm assuming that they wrote these regulations and part of it has to do with having vegetative buffers in place, not spraying in within certain proximity of resource areas, things like that. So they
Yeah.
addressed that in here, but Andrew had said he wasn't gonna spray within 200 feet, which is well in excess of what the regulations allow. I think they're down to 25 feet.
very good.
Yeah, so they've proposed it, but they do still need to, comply with these regulations. So as part of the board's decision approving the manure management plan, they should just put a condition that they've gotta comply with this particular regulation.
Very good.
Sounds good.
So
Any
as long as you
questions,
guys are-
Kevin? I mean, would they like record any of that test data and
They-
just keep it on file for like 3 years in that?
They should, so.
Are we,
That would be like a state
Yeah.
reg.
well, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
it's all state regs, are we
Right.
still able to look at these and see them?
We could ask for it, so, if you make your decision that you're okay with their manure or their management plan for the wastewater, as long as they comply with this particular regulation, then you would still have the ability to review all those materials, because that was what you had said in your original
Right.
decision.
Okay.
And so anything in here, it says all plan and record keeping information under 333 CMR 31 shall be kept for 3 years in either electronic or hard copy format.
Now,
So-
do we need to, make a motion to accept the thing, or is it,
I would, because it was, as a condition of your approval for the site assignment part of it, you had said that they had to have an approved management plan, and so
Okay.
it should be a
all
vote.
right? Can I get a motion to accept?
I wanna read it first.
Do you?
Yeah,
Okay,
and we'll approve it, but,
yeah, all right, so
Yeah.
we'll put that as approval for, next meeting,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right?
I just wanna take a look.
And yeah, you've got that reg, it's pretty short.
Yeah.
So 330 CMR 31.
Okay.
Okay, other permits, 1.5. Other permits,
None?
none?
None.
Wow. All right. This one's very interesting to me. 478 Main Street. A mandatory referral planning board proposed commercial kennel. Now, this is, something that we actually approved the septic tank for a dog washing thing.
For dog grooming, but not a kennel.
Now, am I wrong to assume that you can't, if you have a kennel, without permits for a washing thing, you can only store, for lack of a better word, dogs and not wash them?
So apparently, it's a potential accessory use, but, it was brought up by, Carly, you might know better than me, but somebody in the town that,
Chris, if I may,
Yes,
there seemed to be an issue, and I'm not really to the bottom of this yet, with a couple of the members of the Conservation Commission about not having the proper zoning there. I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding going on, and I think that some of the paperwork might have trickled down the line from Conservation. Would that be possible?
I haven't seen anything, Jim. Have you seen anything, Rick?
so, do they typically get a mandatory referral?
I believe they do, yes.
So
Yeah.
they might have gotten a mandatory referral as well.
Oh, yeah, so basically, planning is sending out a mandatory referral to all boards and commissions. You're gonna have to actually,
All these.
yeah, so this basically, Jim, goes from planning, board of health, conservation, selectmen, historical, and land use coordinator. So,
Who stimulated that letter?
She would have applied to the ZBA because she doesn't meet zoning, and then the mandatory referral would have been sent out after she submitted her application for a ZBA hearing.
yeah, this is actually a reply to the zoning board of appeals.
Okay, I'm a little bit, or I should say I'm a lot confused on this issue as to why they're doing that, so I'm not sure I want to vote on that in this meeting. I'd like more information.
I tend to agree with you because the original plan that she had, she didn't have all the information or the approvals for what she was trying to do, and now she's trying to do something in a different way.
So, what is,
There's something here that's not etched in stone. I don't like it, and I'd like to have this rescheduled until we have more information.
so, could I just
Yeah, go
kind of
ahead,
go
Rick,
through what I know?
please.
So, she had applied to the ZBA for a grooming business at the property, that didn't meet zoning. She couldn't get a special permit, and there is no variance process, so the planning board, or ZBA, to my knowledge, said, no, you can't do that, it's just not something that we can approve. But they had said, you might be able to apply as a kennel and have your dog grooming as an accessory use to the kennel. Somewhere, one of the town officials said that there's some mass general law that exists that said if you're a kennel, you can't also be a groomer.
That's our new land use coordinator, I think his name is Mike Crowley.
Okay. So I had kinda heard that, but I didn't hear it
So
directly
he
from
did
him.
say that it's not, so,
So we'll see what happens, but at least, from our perspective, we sat down with her for those 3 meetings, I think it was, and talked about the dog grooming. The
Yeah.
kennel was never something that she had talked to us about. And so I had, gone through all the information she submitted, and it was really, except for one letter saying that she was applying for as a commercial dog kennel, all the rest of the paperwork was exactly the same as she had previously submitted for the grooming facility. And so I put together a thing and just said, although the applicant has met with the Board of Health to discuss the grooming portion of this proposal, the applicant has not discussed a commercial kennel at the property. The Board of Health needs additional information from the applicant in order to determine if the septic system is adequate for the proposed use, or if the use presents any other concerns from the Board of Health perspective. Specifically, the board would be looking for answers to the following. How many dogs would be kept at the kennel at any particular time? How does the applicant intend to clean the kennel space? Would the kennel have any floor drains, and if so, where would the applicant propose to discharge these to? Would the applicant be offering overnight boarding, or how do they plan to utilize the kennel? How many employees would the kennel have? Would all employees reside on the property? How does the applicant intend to deal with any potential nuisance issues noise, odor, etc. Once the above questions are answered, the Board of Health can determine if the septic serving the property is adequate and also decide if the proposed use presents any other Board of Health related concern. So really, there's not enough information in the application to be able to answer as to whether, you know, a kennel could be something she could do there or not.
Yeah, no, I agree. Gavin, what do you got?
So, I agree with that, and I was gonna ask you to kinda go over, so that's perfect, thank you for doing that. What was the problem we had with the property across from the high school with doing a kennel there? They needed a whole septic system upgrade because that's commercial property?
They ended up taking their application away because the difference between a residential and a commercial system is that a commercial systems require 2-compartment tank or tanks in series. As long as the leaching area is adequately sized for however many gallons per day they're gonna discharge, it's the same for residential and commercial. So really, the difference is the tank.
The 2 tanks?
And as soon as I told him, you've got a single compartment tank, at a minimum, you would be looking at changing the tank out. He said, well, I don't wanna do it anymore.
Yeah, okay. So, that's not gonna apply to her because it's a zoning board of appeals
So
situation?
she has a newer system with dual compartment tanks,
Anyway.
and it was already sized for at least the numbers that we had looked at for the grooming part. So in the past, when people have proposed kennels, most of them don't have floor drains, and that's where the wastewater would come from.
Yeah.
So they're going in and they're hand washing them, and then they're just throwing everything in the trash. And so potentially it could work, but there's not enough information in the application to be able to say that.
Yeah, I know that planning has, floor drains, and somewhere I read in us that we have something with floor drains
I think
also.
there's
We do,
floor
we
drains
do have a
everywhere.
Yeah.
regulation of litter.
Yeah,
The,
so,
it's important also to note, I'm so sorry, if I may.
go ahead, please, Carol, help us.
That, the board, the zoning board is meeting on the 23rd, and you're not meeting again until the 28th, so at least I would highly suggest that Rick submit those comments, so at least they have those comments for their meeting.
Yeah. What do you think, Gavin?
Yeah, but we need more information,
Yeah.
for sure.
But what he is submitting kind of,
Mm-hmm.
gives us enough leeway to, talk to them later with more information we have.
Mm-hmm.
Just letting them know that, you know, what our rules are and what we have to do. Jim, what do you think?
I'm agreeable.
Okay, you're very agreeable, I like that.
No, I'm gonna stand firm, trust me, I will, even when it comes to challenging a vent drain.
All right, so, I would like to make a motion that we have Rick submit, his, how do I put that, Rick? Your
Comments
letter?
on the referral letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
comments on the referral letter to
Applicant.
ZBA.
actually the ZBA,
That goes right to the
right?
ZBA.
Yeah.
The zoning board of appeals, with, our ask that we get more information on this process as they move along.
Second,
All in favor?
Okay,
alright.
Aye. Okay,
oh, aye, sorry, aye.
yeah. It works, Jim.
Boy, as a side note, how are you gonna, how's anybody gonna approve a kennel there though?
Well,
From a zoning,
personally,
boy, that's tough.
her whole thing was a dog washing.
Yeah,
Now she wants to do a kennel, that wasn't her thing.
right.
That wasn't our thing, no.
Yeah, Mike,
Do not washing section, and
Yeah.
I think we let them do the 5 a day or something.
Yep, and my concern is the fact that, and I have no evidence of this, but common sense tells me that she's gonna wash dogs. That's her whole thing,
Yeah,
Well, that's,
you know?
if you look
It's
through
not-
Eric's letter, it basically says that the only reason she's applying for a kennel license is so she can wash dogs.
yeah.
Yeah, which she can't really do. We've just determined
Well,
that. Well,
not. she
we
can't
haven't, I
from-
shouldn't say, but
Yeah. Right.
the land use coordinator has determined that you can't do both.
And I guess, that part of it will come out in their own hearing.
Right.
But from our perspective, we haven't discussed the kennel part with her. And so, if she does get approval from ZBA, then she'll have to come back through us.
Yep, okay. And she, has already gone through planning for, change of use?
That's what she's doing.
Well, no, that's different.
So she's
From
going through the
ZBA.
ZBA to try to get approval for this, I think it's a special permit. If that doesn't work, then I believe her only option is to either ask to be rezoned or for the planning board or ZBA, whoever does it, to rewrite the bylaws.
Well, Townsend does not, spot zone.
So I
We've been
guess
over
that's-
that a million times, we do not spot
So
zone.
I guess that's what she would be waiting for, is if she's denied, then you're likely waiting for them to, rewrite the bylaws if that does
Yeah,
happen.
that's probably not gonna happen anytime soon, for a spot zone for one business. I don't see it happening, 6 years on the planning board and 3 on the Board of Health and 4 on the capital planning committee. I've heard a few things. Is this her garage?
No, that's the next thing on
That's
the
the next
agenda.
one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was the same thing, I'm like, wow, that's a hell of a garage she's got going on. Okay, so we have allowed Rick to, submit his comments for the, zoning board of appeals. And we ask that we get more information from them as they find it, before she comes back to us for approval on anything. So, any questions, guys? No, Gavin,
Thank you.
Jim? Okay, let's move on. We have 1.7, 241 through 247 Main Street, a mandatory referral zoning board of appeals proposal to convert a building into a mixed use by adding 4 2-bedroom apartments, 2 1-bedroom apartments, and a second and third floor mixed for pre-existing non-conforming commercial structure at 241 Main Street. Where is 241 Main Street?
So it's, across, right next to Honeyland, to the right, and to the left of Townsend Pizza.
Are we talking about the office building that's there?
Yes.
Yes.
And they wanna add,
So they wanna keep
it's already
Uh,
3 stories,
I think it's the basement will remain retail,
okay?
and then the 2 top levels will become residential.
They're not adding levels, they're
No. Oh,
converting.
Yeah, they're just renovating the
So
existing
they're gonna
building.
kick our moderator out of the building? Wow, that's too bad.
Who's that?
Our moderator for the town.
You lost us.
You don't know who the moderator is?
Talking about John Barrett?
Yes.
Okay.
I was hoping someone knew who our moderator was. I mean, I do, but,
Yeah, actually is on the third floor, you're
yeah,
right.
he's on the 3rd
So
floor.
yeah, I
He's
don't
been
know,
there
I mean,
forever.
they might be shuffling people around, I think the
Yeah.
issue is that the building's mostly empty. And,
Yep.
haven't
is.
dealt with 222 Main Street where they were,
Do they have
basically,
adequate parking there for that many?
they own the lot behind McNabb's too,
Oh, that's theirs.
yeah.
Oh, I
So
didn't
it's
know
a
that.
really weird shaped lot.
Yeah.
It kind of has
So all
a
that parking
piece
is
and then a
theirs?
skinny part
Mhm.
and then another
Oh,
piece in
wow.
the back, yeah.
Okay.
So they
What's the
do.
septic at? What's going on with the septic?
So I wrote up some comments and tried to address that, so I'll read what I had written down first and then we can go from there. So the property is served by town water, which is acceptable to accommodate the proposed use. The applicant has applied for and completed soil testing needed to determine if the site can support a sewage disposal system capable of serving the proposed use. However, no plans have been submitted to the board for review or approval. The applicant must submit proposed septic plans designed to accommodate the proposed use for review and receive approval for a permit from the Board of Health in order for the Board of Health to determine if the proposed use is acceptable. So basically, we've gone out, we've done soil testing for it, they haven't submitted anything back. I really don't expect them to until they get through the ZBA. And if they do, then we'll probably see plans shortly after.
Yeah.
But we did testing out in that back parking lot area, so they'd be, right now, the system is to the left in that front parking lot.
Yeah,
They'd move everything out back, cause it's gonna be substantially bigger.
right. Now, what are we looking at for that many units, and, I mean, just
So it'd be-
offhand?
What was it, 4 2-bedrooms, so 8, 9, 10 bedrooms, and let's say, about 2,000 square feet of retail or an office space. So it'd be 1,100, and then somewhere around like 150. So like say 1,250 square feet, something like that,
Yeah,
or
Is that big in the area for that?
1,250 gallons per day.
yeah, they actually own all the parking lot behind McNabb's, so they have plenty of room.
And
Okay,
So
are you
it'd be
gonna
like-
allow that to go under a parking lot, or are you gonna have to make sure that that's gonna be to the sun?
you could put a system under a parking lot.
The entire system or a portion of it?
The entire or a portion. It's just at that point, it's required to be vented and vehicle rated.
And how many square feet did you say that would be, Rick?
So it's 1,250 gallons per day, which should come out to 1,700 square feet.
Alright, that'll go commercial on it.
It'll be under 2,000 gallons per day, so it'll be, it'll be a commercial system, cause it's other than a single family, but it won't be pressure distribution, cause it's not over 2,000 gallons per day.
Alright,
And that area, town perks out fine?
It's pretty nice sand, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, because the new groundwater table there, it's all gonna be underneath anyway, so there'll be no pump involved in none of that stuff.
Okay. Who's the, I haven't looked at this, but just curious on who the owner is.
The last name is Curtis. He just bought the property recently.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that, most of that's been empty for quite a while.
Yeah, 'cause it was, John something, I forget his last name, he had owned it
It's
for,
all sand there too, the water's down probably 15, 20 feet, maybe more.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, yeah, 'cause that's up higher than the harbor by far,
oh, big time.
yeah.
Big time. If you consider the Dunkin' Donuts there on 13, there's an elevation split between there and that's basically the aquifer of the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. Very good. Alright, so, what are we looking to do here, guys?
so I think, basically the comment is, it seems feasible, but we don't have enough information at this point to make that determination. So,
This is a tentative review, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, we need septic plans and they need
Yeah.
to be approved before we could say it's a go.
So we're basically looking for, to comment that we don't have enough information to say that we approve, or
So,
am I just overthinking this?
So if it's okay, I'll just submit what I had already written, which is, the town, they've got town water, which is fine. The septic system will need to be figured out, before they could
Okay,
get a building
You're
permit.
gonna have to remove part of the parking lot that's existing now, put the system in and repave it or whatever's gonna transpire. Plus, if they gotta do that, they gotta put additional parking in for all those tenants, right?
Yeah, so they've got,
The entire system will probably be under pavement.
they have the parking spaces, so the calculations showed that they need 28 spaces. And they had more than that, it was.
yeah, that's actually a pretty good lot.
Yeah. I think it's all formalities more than anything else, Chris.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah.
So, do we just, do we need a motion to let Rick, submit, or we
That's
just?
what, I mean, I've really been doing that, but there's been a few that have come up that we wanted to run by you, so.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
So, yeah, I mean, as long as you guys are okay with it, I'll submit
Do
comments.
we
that-
need a motion on that, or just no?
No, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're good. Gavin, you good with that?
Yeah,
Gavin, I'm good. How about you, Jim?
I'm good with that, yeah.
Okay, so you're all set. You submit that.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Finally, they're doing something with that poor building. Okay, now we have 1.8, open space plan requested for Board of Health representative.
I sent, and I wanted to keep Rick here because I think it's important for the board to know that it doesn't have to be a Board of Health member. When I was approached, I immediately said that the board members are very busy, and I was told immediately that it doesn't have to be, you as a board
Right.
need to
we could-
nominate someone who lives in the town. And open space, I couldn't think of anyone better than George Sullivan. He's retired, he was on it, I guess like 15 years ago. Do you know who George Sullivan is?
I do not either.
He, how would
He's
you,
one hell of a man, sharp as a tack and as sincere as the day long.
and
Okay.
he worked for David Ross, for.
Is he still, is he willing to do
No,
it?
he's retired, so
No, but I mean, is he willing to do
haven't, you as a board have to decide that.
We gotta ask them.
Yeah, okay.
If you'd like to,
Should we
make
let
a
Cal
motion to-
contact him and,
What's the open space?
Tell me
I
it's recommended by
I
name.
sent, I sent you guys an email, I'm sorry I didn't print it out.
Yeah.
Even though
it's-
Kyle was the one that had the idea.
It's to protect the groundwater and make sure, am I right, Rick?
I mean, open space is
Open
usually
space,
like you
yeah.
have a big parcel and you do like a cluster development where you develop a small area that, with the goal of keeping the majority of it undeveloped.
yeah, I can give you an example up on North End Road, that group of houses they're building. They've been working on that for years. There is a formula to how many acres, how much you're developing, that you need a percentage for open space, so that we don't turn Townsend into Cambridge.
Congressman Way.
So probably they're looking for someone, and maybe Mr. Sullivan would love to do it for us. He can keep us informed. I am already on 2 committees that are working now, I don't have time.
Jim's on two.
Jim's
and
on two, and
Gavin's very
Gavin's
busy
got
with
kids,
younger
so.
children, so.
I'm on about 9 other. I mean, how often do they meet? What's?
I have no idea.
I don't think they know themselves until they
Yep.
really start getting the board members. I don't think that there's enough members right now, and they're just trying to recruit.
So what, are they looking to like rewrite bylaws to promote open space? Is that what it is?
I think it is, I think it is. They spoke about the master plan was done in 2010, and they
Oh,
thought that
no,
was.
we did the one way up to that.
Okay, so, they were very confident that the latest master plan was gonna be able to help them update it.
Yeah, yeah. We were doing the master plan when I was on that board.
I do have an email and I did send it out
Yep.
to you guys.
Yep.
I'll forward it again tomorrow. I'm so sorry that I
No,
didn't
no,
print
it's
it out.
okay, I should have read it.
But I really thought that George
Yeah.
just popped right into my head.
Oh, no, and Jim knows him, and he's a solid guy, so, I mean, if he's willing to do it, I think it'd be a great idea.
With David Ross over 40 years, so I
Yeah.
think he knows where
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of the things that
I'd say so.
none
Yep.
of us know.
all right,
He just built a
I
house
would
across
like
the street
to,
from the police station. You know that new one?
do I need a motion on that, or?
Yes, you do.
I
So you probably, you probably wanna approach him first and see if he's
Well,
interested.
do
Well-
we, what I'm thinking is, do we need a motion to tell Kala to contact him for this?
I mean, I don't think you need a motion, I think it's just,
Okay.
yeah, we would
Just
be
approval
interested
from
in
the
that.
board.
Okay, so you're okay with me contacting?
Yeah, I'm good with it, Jim, you're good with it,
Yes.
and Gavin, you are.
Okay,
Okay.
and I will re-forward the email, and as you read the email, if you can think of anyone else that might be interested, please let me know.
Oddly enough, I found a guy that, I asked him to actually contact the, conservation, cause he is, he does something for a living that is with conservation, and I said, I know they're looking for people. He's a nice young man, you know, he's probably in his late 30s, early 40s. He's qualified, and he wants to help, so.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but I asked him to, talk to the land use coordinator, and she could direct him to you guys, Jim.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah?
I think you should wait till I return, but we'll take.
Well,
it
no,
from there.
it's just one of those, I was, having something to eat, and, at the Townsend house, and he was sitting next to me, and we were just chatting, and, you know, seemed like a good kid.
That's how it goes.
Yep, sometimes you just meet nice people.
That's right.
Alright, so Kyle, you are going to take care of that,
I will reach out to George.
okay?
Am I missing
So we
anything else for
have,
Rick?
Rick, are you all set?
Unless you guys need anything.
No,
Will I see you tomorrow?
yeah. Do you have a bag of 20s?
I wish I did.
Oh, then there's really nothing else you can do for me.
Alright,
But thanks, buddy.
alright, have a good night, guys.
Okay, have a good one. Alright, so we have invoices, Kyle.
Okay, invoices, your Unitil bill, $195, it is what it is.
Hey, is it?
GW Sharon Son, your monthly bill, it is what it is. Toner, a lot of toner, with the annual flyer
There you
and
go.
the Mass Notify mailing. So I have 2 pages here, I'm, using some of the money for the grant for the toner, but then there was supplies for the recycling center garage, such as sponges and toilet bowl cleaner,
Thank you, sir.
that the boys actually asked me to get because they said that they would clean the bathroom themselves, so.
Oh,
At
that's
least one out of the
short,
2, so there's 2, so when you see that, then send them the second page, because I wanna make sure that we get it in the right accounts. Weston and Sampson was out last week at the landfill, looking at the lagoons, we have a small problem with our pump.
Oh, no.
But,
Again?
yeah, well, it's just not starting right, so I'm gonna have,
Have we
Shaw.
checked?
Oh, yeah, the
Shepherds.
was that those emails with the phone?
yes.
Yeah. Is it,
Kinda-
no,
Is
is,
the gasoline pump coming?
You were all over it.
It's the pump for the leachates,
It's electric.
yes.
no.
Right.
Is
It hasn't
that?
been started in probably 2 years,
Oh,
so.
Oh, yeah, I need attention, obviously.
yeah,
So rather than, Weston and Sampson said that they would give me a proposal, but I thought it would be better to go through Shepherd's Landscaping. I think that they would be much more, cost effective.
Yeah.
and if
Yeah,
they
I
don't,
agree with that.
travel for myself, nothing crazy, although I do have the Worcester in there when I went down to get the supplies.
Yeah.
Our needle disposal, McNabb Pharmacy is going to be utilizing our needle disposal because they are
Really?
using, well, they have all the needles to dispose of with the
Very
vaccine
nice.
clinics. So, it looks like we're gonna be, emptying that probably every 10 days for the
Oh,
next
this
few weeks.
is, Advil waste.
Yes, that's the needle disposal. So,
They can't send them back to the state?
no,
Unfortunately, the
no.
state wants nothing to do with it.
Alright, well,
I mean, they are going to pay us $5, Tyler, or, so we
We
can.
charge $5, Jim, it costs $85 to dispose of it. I'm gonna be counting now, it's a little difficult because sometimes we don't have the 1-quart container, sometimes people bring them in a coffee can, and we try to make it as economically feasible for the residents as possible. I think we're breaking even, we might be making $5 or $10, that's it, and which would be part of the administrative fee of processing it and the paperwork.
Yeah, we basically, Jim, when we started this, it wasn't for profit.
But we're not supposed to, we're
Yeah,
not allowed to.
You're not allowed to make profit, but it's just, we didn't wanna lose money, that's all.
And we're definitely not,
Yeah,
okay, minutes, where did the minutes go? Did I take them? I have them right up there a minute ago.
I'd say I have both of them.
Oh, thank you. Okay, would you like to look at one and I'll
Yeah.
give?
I'll give Gavin the other one.
Okay. Jim, I did send you the minutes today.
I understand, I didn't see any issue with it.
That's his
Okay,
number.
thank you.
Everybody still there?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm just reading the minutes, Jim.
they're reviewing the minutes.
Yeah, real quiet, I have my heart skipped a beat.
Oh, nice.
I ran across a page that said Andrew Shepherd is running for state representative.
Yes,
Is he really? to
I
him,
knew
he's a
that.
smart
Did
kid.
you?
He was interning when he was at UMass,
Nice.
and,
Yeah,
and
he's a
it
very
just, he
smart
always
kid.
seemed to me like that was his calling, so I
That's
was
cool.
not at all surprised when I
I
saw
wasn't
that.
surprised either, actually, when I saw it. I saw it, it's maybe his Instagram account or Facebook or something.
Yeah. It was in the Groton Herald or whatever, the Groton Times, something like that.
Yeah, I approve. Yeah, but I've already read that one, so you just,
Excellent.
yeah.
I did
Thank you. So future agenda items, we are coming up to February 28th, we're gonna be talking about fees. I've been benchmarking the whole state of Massachusetts with tobacco regulations. Currently, there are only 6 other towns and cities that are higher than Townsend.
Wow, we need to catch up.
The problem with catching up is, remember that you cannot make a profit.
I don't wanna make a profit.
So when a town charges $700 for a tobacco license,
Yeah.
how do you justify that?
It's a sin tax.
So I do believe that you're at $275 now. I think it would be, in my first draft, probably keeping it the same, maybe upping it to 300, but I
Yeah.
don't really see anything more than that, especially where I see where all the other towns are. We do a lot, I don't know what the other towns do.
Yeah.
But it went out to 339 emails, and I sent out the distribution, just asking, hey, what are your fees? And then everyone started replying all, so
What?
it just blew up the internet, or the email, and everyone's, oh gosh, please, would you stop sending all? Okay, you don't have to, you can do it on the top, you can stop this. And then a couple of people said, well, I'm really interested, this is a really good conversation. Well, now as we're talking about this, what about this fee for this?
Oh, Jesus.
I felt so bad because I was the one that started it. And then the person who originated the distribution list said, please let it be known that I did not authorize this distribution list to be used. It was just I apologized. But
Yeah.
it seems to be a very worthwhile conversation, and it's brought a lot of different topics on tobacco and what's happening with the different communities.
Yeah.
Eventually, towns are gonna just be like, yeah, you can't sell it anymore.
There's a lot of people that smoke in this town. There really are.
Well, I'm not saying that's gonna start in this town,
Yes.
certainly, but,
You wouldn't believe how many people smoke down here. It's scary.
oh, yeah.
Oh,
I will-
everybody does, Jim.
I will send out the little package on the information as we get closer to the meeting so you
Yeah.
can review it, but it is staggering how many towns actually don't even have a permit. I think it's 53 towns and cities in the state of Massachusetts don't even require a permit. You can just open up a tobacco.
Yeah.
I just wanna, self that.
You know what? Our whole thing is, this is our town, and we determine.
That's right.
It's not what the state does, or Cambridge does, or Worcester does, or Springfield does. That's all on them. We're here to protect our town and do what we think is right for our town. That's what we're here for. That's what we swore an oath to do, and, well, hell, I'm gonna try and do it. That's all I got.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, so, future agenda items, the septic regulations table till spring, stable regulations table till spring, and the fees we are moving to the 28th,
Which is our next meeting?
which is our next meeting.
Okay.
And
What
we
time,
will,
5:30?
no, I want you on at 3:17.
3:17:02.
Yeah, right. Don't call my phone, I don't know if I have that many minutes. They even charge minutes for phones anymore, I don't even know. Yeah, so, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Kevin?